The vast expanse of space was patrolled by Captain Jake Morrison, a seasoned veteran commanding the Starship Stellar Dawn. His vessel was just one among many, all traveling in close formation with their unusual allies, the Zephrians. These tall, four-armed, blue-skinned aliens had joined forces with the humans 2 years prior, forming an uneasy but effective alliance against a common enemy. For 300 years, the region known as the Grimspawn territory had been shrouded in mystery. It was a place from which no ship had returned with a clear account of what lay within. The only reports coming from the few survivors who managed to escape were so unsettling and unbelievable that the sector had earned a reputation as the loony bin. Tales of impossible creatures and ships made of flesh and bone sent chills down the spines of even the most jaded spacefarers. Now, however, with a powerful new ally at their side, the humans were ready to uncover the truth behind these disturbing stories. The combined fleet of humans and Zephyr ships moved like a shadow across the void of space towards the edge of known space where the Grimspawn territory awaited. At the sensor station, Lieutenant Danny Cruz, a young man with a sharp intellect and an easy grin, suddenly straightened up in his seat. "All right, sir," he said, his voice betraying none of the turmoil that had gripped him when he first saw the readings. "I'm picking up some movement out there. Looks like a lot of contacts. About time," Captain Morrison replied, glancing at the readings on his main view screen. "I was starting to think we were gonna have to turn around and go back." Empty victory would have sucked. A moment later, the crisp voice of Admiral Kethver crackled over the comm. "This is Admiral Kethver of the Zephrian High Command. All ships be advised, we are receiving multiple anomalous sensor readings from our vanguard elements." His gaze, usually as calm and steady as the vacuum of space, now held a flicker of unease. "It appears we are not alone in this sector. Proceed with caution." Repeat, proceed with caution. Dr. Kevin Stone, the mission's language expert and resident xenolinguist, raised his head from his console, a grim look on his face. "Broken transmissions," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "The fragmented portions that we've managed to isolate don't match any known language family. That is highly unusual given the proximity of settled systems. Either this is a radically evolved language or it's completely isolated, which is almost unheard of this far out from the core worlds." As the fleet approached the center of the target zone, Danny's long-range sensors picked up 3 large, fast-moving objects. "Sir, I'm getting a hit on my long-range scanners," he said urgently. 3 large contacts closing fast. On the main view screen, the objects were now clearly visible, looming out of the darkness like specters of some nightmare. The ship's computer struggled to identify them, fluctuating wildly between classifying them as vessels and life forms. And as they drew nearer, the horror of their true nature became terrifyingly clear. They were massive, pulsating, organic, almost as if they were alive. "What the hell?" gasped one of the sailors at the weapons station, his voice echoing the thoughts of every crew member on the ship. "I'm trying to lock onto a weapons platform," Lieutenant Commander Eva Belleros reported, her voice tight with tension as she struggled to bring the ship's guns to bear on the oncoming shapes. "But it's like trying to hit a cloud. There isn't anything solid to lock onto. We can't fire blindly into a mass of organic tissue, and I don't think we'd want to, based on what we're seeing on the view screen," added Captain Morrison grimly. The lead ship loomed closer, its hull rippling and flexing like a living thing. Through the viewport, the sailors watched in fascination and horror as the ship seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting in a horrifying parody of life. I don't understand," whispered one of the crew, his eyes wide with terror. Before anyone could respond, a booming voice echoed through the ship, amplified by the intercom. "Attention all vessels, identify yourselves and state your business in the Grimspawn territory." The voice reverberated with an otherworldly quality, as if it came from beyond the grave. But it wasn't empty. There was a depth to it, a power that commanded respect and stirred something primal within those who heard it. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Star League," began Captain Morrison cautiously. "We come in peace, and we'd like to speak to whoever's in charge here." The reply was immediate and laced with amusement. "You wish to speak with the leaders? Very well, come to them. They await your arrival." And with that, the hulking ship seemed to glide aside, revealing a ghastly sight that sent shivers down the spines of the crew on the Stellar Dawn. A preserved section of an ancient human colony ship, the UES New Frontier Colony Ship 7. The same ship whose disappearance had plunged the star system into chaos and despair 400 years ago. "What the hell?" exclaimed Corporal Tony Garcia, his eyes wide with disbelief. "How is this possible? How is that ship still intact? It's supposed to be thousands of years old." A small craft separated from the larger ship and approached the Stellar Dawn, carrying 3 figures who wasted no time in introducing themselves as the Grimspawn. Their leader stepped forward, extending a hand with 4 fingers. "Greetings, I am the leader of the Grimspawn. And with me are 2 members of my council. We received your message and are pleased to meet with you." His voice rumbled with an otherworldly resonance, as if echoing from some distant cavern. Despite their imposing appearance, there was a certain nobility in their bearing, a dignity that spoke of a people refined by the crucible of centuries. "Wait, I thought you guys were supposed to be monsters," quipped Private Mendez, unable to contain his astonishment. "I mean, you're definitely different, but I'm not seeing any fangs or claws." The Grimspawn leader regarded the human before him with an unreadable expression. "Monsters, yes, you are correct. We are monsters, but not in the way you might imagine. We are monsters because we have been forced to become monsters. Our world was dying. Our people were starving. When the ship arrived, we saw it as a godsend. And yet we were too weak, too primitive to venture beyond the confines of our planet. Then they came, the Devourers, mechanical spiders that consumed all organic life and left only husks in their wake. We fought them off, yes, but at what cost? By the end, there were only a handful of us left. But then something remarkable happened. Those few survivors, including myself, found those aboard the colony ship the remnants of humanity's first expansion into the stars. They too were dying. Their ship was ancient, their life support failing. But in the midst of death, we found a way to survive. We merged. Our 2 species, so different, so advanced, so desperate, joined together to become a new family. Some became one, combining human and Grimspawn DNA into a new, stronger breed. Others remained separate, yet united in purpose. We have been fighting the Devourers ever since, hiding from races that would exploit our differences to claim the galaxy for themselves. For 300 years, we have survived. Not as humans nor as Grimspawn, but as a new race, the children of 2 worlds and to species bound by a common purpose. We have become monsters indeed, but monsters forged in the fires of adversity, tempered by centuries of struggle and sacrifice. Will you stand with us? Will you help us defeat the Devourers once and for all? Or will you leave us to face our fate alone? His words hung heavy in the air, a challenge, a plea, a prophecy. Before the stunned humans on the bridge of the Stellar Dawn could respond, a grim realization dawned on them. The real test was just beginning. Used to facing predictable foes, the enemy's unorthodox tactics caught them off guard, forcing the mechanical monstrosities to adapt and evolve on the fly. This was something they hadn't had to do in centuries, and it showed. At first, the Devourers were thrown off balance, but slowly, inexorably, they began to adapt. Hour after hour, the tide of battle shifted in their favor. 7 human ships were lost, their brilliant lights extinguished one by one until only 5 remained, and the Grimspawn losses were even heavier. The fleet was upon them in an instant, cutting off their escape and trapping them in a vice-like grip. "All hands to battle stations," Captain Morrison ordered, his voice ringing with urgency. "Weapons online, shields at maximum. All fighters, launch immediately. We're going in blind, but we're going in hard. As the Devourer fleet closed in, the combined fleet of humans and Grimspawn ships fought back. The human speed and tactical creativity combined with the Grimspawn's powerful, almost alien-like bioweapons to create a surprisingly formidable force. Just when all hope seemed to be fading, a young Grimspawn warrior found himself mortally wounded, his ship's hull breached and his life essence rapidly draining away. As his comrades fell around him, he knew he would die unless someone helped him. Then, miraculously, a human sailor, Corporal Garcia, came to his rescue, sealing the breach manually and sacrificing himself in the process. "Go on without me," he gasped, his voice strained with effort. "Get out of here. Tell my friends I love them." Still, despite their courage, the Devourers remained relentless in their assault.